Hi, I'm Lou. Come join me on my journey to leave my job, get on Darwin Gold. Last time I said earn $1 million in funding or get $1 million in funding. I watched that back and I think that sounds a bit wanky. So I have changed that to get enough funding that I can build my personal pot and get the money to leave work and go on lots of holidays. Not quite so catchy, maybe doesn't have the same hook, but the really important thing for me when I started this YouTube was to be real and the opposite of a trader guru. You know what I mean? I didn't want to be like, I've got all this in funding. Look at my payout. Where's my Lambo? My second car's a Mercedes. No, none of that. I have a Kia. Aspirational. And it was more a case of, I just wanted to be real. And I know that if I put anything fakery or performative up, it's just going to make me feel like crap. So I'm just going to do it the honest way. And I've got nothing to prove because ultimately I'm not coming on here trying to sell anybody anything. This is majority for me. If in 2 years' time I get some of the things that I've been wanting to achieve, I'm starting with the end in mind, and it would be very exciting to get to that point and be able to look back and go, I said I'd do that and I did. So that's why I am here. And it absolutely blows my mind that people can put up stuff that is fake and take credit for it. I just think that's like really astonishing. Don't understand it. But that's why I put my Darwin in my bio, and I'll say it again, it's ZBIB, ZBIB. I think I'm on like 11.5% now. The plan is to, if I can get to 25% by October, then I'll get on Darwin Gold, which I'll be very proud of. But this is the thing, I'm going to be real all the way. I'm going to say when I've got real losses. I'm going to say if I blow any accounts. I'm going to say if I make any mistakes. So far, we've had 2 losses and a mistake, so I'm doing very well. And ultimately, try and have a bit of fun on the way. I don't really care particularly if I get any followers. Don't get me wrong, it would be nice, but I would rather have 100 nice people follow me than 100,000 who may be there for the wrong reasons. Not that I'll ever get 100,000, and who knows, maybe I wouldn't turn it down, but ultimately I'd much rather just have some real people following me. And my next week's worth of trading focus is for this week detachment from the losses. I probably focused a bit too much on losses last week. I made a bit of a drama about it, didn't I? And I only took 2. I think I'm on a 3 or 4 loss streak. It's no big deal. We could take 4, 5, 6, 7. It's out of my control, so I just have to go with it. And that's it, and I'll see you later in the week. Bye. Morning. I've got this balanced on my steering wheel in selfie mode. Must ignore looking at screen. Just to say hi, I'm off to the gym. I love to go to the gym on a Sunday morning. This year, I've not always been a massive gym girl. I've always gone like fairly consistently. Fuck it, I'm leaving it in. But over the last couple of years, I've sort of gradually ramped it up. And this year, I'm going to try and do shred fast 2 to 3 days a week, and the gym 2 to 3 days a week. So effectively 5 out of the week. I can feel it in my thighs over the last couple of days for shred fast. So I am not looking forward to leg day, but go and get it done. So bye. Oh no, watch the next video back, and yeah, you've only got the bottom of my face on that video, so I'll get better at this, I promise. Gym done, off for a walk. Solved the issue of not being able to look sideways off my phone by putting a glove over my phone. So as you can imagine, this looks pretty damn good. Got completely distracted because someone actually walked out the house whilst I was doing this. I went, put it down. Don't know how people do this in front of people. But luckily, this road is really quiet. It's not really raining now. I thought maybe it would be raining and it would be quite cool then, because I could show you. There's a big thing on our group about doing what you say you're going to do, and it's been like a really important part of the last 1.5 years for me, because that's why even just doing this YouTube is so important. Like I've said I'm going to do it. Now, no matter what, no matter how difficult it is or uncomfortable I feel, or the fact that nobody ever watches, if I do that over the next 2 years, then I know I do what I say I do, which is just going to be so important. I can't take any credit for this. This is completely the group ethos, but it's the whole thing of when you're on the charts, the only thing that you've got stopping you from doing bad things is what you've said you will or won't do. So if you say, I'm only taking one trade today, the only person who's going to be able to do that is you. And if your mental muscle isn't strong enough that you just don't do what you say the majority of the time, why is it going to be any different on the time that you need to not take a trade? So that's the general consensus. So I'm off on my walk in the not so rain. I'm starting to come into a place where there's people now, so I'm going to cut this off. Bye. Morning. I'm running out of time to get these clips in before I get onto the street. Being very brave and filming in the street, which, if you know the area in which I work in, because I'm walking to work, is pretty brave, because I'm probably going to get robbed, especially now I've got a 15 and not a 12. When I had a 12, they'd probably give it back. But anyway, just a quick update. So I'm in the trade. Yesterday, the trade I chose not to take because of the volatility filter, that was a winner. And that is what we call trader's law. So I'm going to talk a bit more about that later on in the week. But long story short, I'm in a trade to see how it goes. And off I go to work. First day back after 18 days off. I am not looking forward to my email inbox. There's people around now, so I'm going to go. Bye. Hi, just got home from work. Little update on my trade from today. Drum roll. Don't have any drum roll things, but so crap. I'm leaving it in though. It was an L. And it brings me on nicely to what I sort of mentioned this morning, which was trader's law. Now, if you live in England, you might be familiar with sod's law. If you don't know what sod's law is, or you're from outside the UK, imagine this. You've got the gas engineer coming to your house to fix the gas. He said it'll be there between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. So you stay in all day, but you think 12:15, you think, I'm just going to pop out just to the corner shop really quick, take the car, grab a pint of milk and come back. I guarantee you, the second you walk out that door at 12:18, the gas engineer will turn up. And that is sod's law. Now, the trader's law version of that is basically when I chose my volatility filter earlier this week, did all the data, checked it all out. It saves me losses. Overall, the R was up. It's a good thing to have on. Obviously, what then happens is the first trade that I have that I sit out of because of the volatility filter won. So Monday, the trade that I would have normally been in if it hadn't been for a volatility filter won. On the grand scheme of things, like it kept me out of one last week, so you're already looking at sort of 1% of that away. And then obviously there was one on holiday as well, which was volatile. So if you zoom out, it's still a thing that's making sense at the moment. But then, of course, sod's law, the next trade I've taken has been an L. And when I say it was an L, I say it kissed my stop loss and disintegrated. So it was, I mean, to be honest, I'm so over it being a painful L now. I was just like, I feel like I'm in it now, and this is the danger, you see, because the worst thing that I could have done now then is to look at that volatility filter and gone, oh well, actually I'll change that, because the whole point would be, and I think this is where so many people fall down, is if I then changed that volatility filter and actually went, do you know what, I'm going to take that off and I'm just going to run as normal, you can guarantee you that the next volatile trade would then be a loss. And then you start thinking, well, actually, maybe I was right in the first place. And then you put it back on and then you miss the win. And before you know it, you're in this loop where you're making constant changes, and every change, unfortunately, tweaks things and fucks it up. So, and I've been so bad for that before, that now the most important thing is that I literally just have to stay the same. I have to stay the same. I'm locked in a death roll till the bitter end. I feel like one of those cave divers that knows that according to the map there's something good, and they have exactly the right amount of oxygen to get there, and if it's not good, they're fucked. So I just got to keep going. Just got to keep going. I'm making it sound very dramatic. I've only taken, like, if I looked at the system losses, I'm only like a 3L streak for the system, possibly a 4 or 5L streak without it. It's not actually a big deal. I think it's just because this is the deepest I've been in drawdown on a lot of my accounts. I used to get really freaked out about drawdown. But I was just looking at it now as though ultimately I just got to keep going. That's what I said on holiday. I just got to keep going, see what's around the corner. A bit like the YouTube journey, really. Like, obviously it would have been nice to start on a bunch of wins, but like, imagine having the arc where it starts really tough and then becomes successful. I mean, that's much better to watch. Not quite as fun to live through, but hey, that's the way it goes. So anyway, after all that rambling, the summary is Trader's Law says that if you put a filter on, don't be surprised that the next one will be a win. You've got to zoom out, remember why you did it. And yeah, I won't be vlogging tomorrow. I've got a long day at work, 12 hours. So I will pick this up again on Thursday. Got into a bit of a swing of this now. I could keep chatting for ages. But anyway, see you on Thursday. Morning. I know I lied. I said I'd pick it up on Thursday, but it's Wednesday morning and I'm walking into work for my last day of work this week. Ever. Wouldn't that be nice? But no, this week. I just thought I'd say I did put an order entry on this morning. So I've no idea what's going on with that yet. I'll get an alert when it goes in. But every part of me this morning did not want to put that order entry on. And I looked at the price action, tried to talk myself out of it, tried to give myself the excuses about, oh, you know, discretion's a big part of trading, doesn't look very good. Yesterday you kissed the stop loss, that could have been a win on your back testing. Today should have been a loss, could be a loss. And ultimately, I was just like, you can't do that. Like, imagine if I'd done that and today's a win. That's the sort of thing that will drive people mad, go on tilt, and then game over. So, order entry on, we'll see how it goes. And now it's time for some shred fast. First complex complete. Complex 2 done. Oh my god, I have a new toy. I've got this handheld gimbal thing that someone on the group recommended, and I thought I'd take it out for a test drive. Did not realise quite how big it was. So now not only am I walking down the road with a phone, I have some spacey handheld device as well, which I haven't quite worked out all the settings for, so God knows what direction it's pointing at. Anyway, happy Friday. Quiet day for me, hit the gym, off to coffee with a friend, and I'll do a little recap of how the week's trading went. Bye. Hiya, just to wrap up to the week. So let's summarise how the week's trading went. Now, when I started this episode, I basically had in mind from the second that I put the volatility filter on that Trader's Law would be quite a fun subject to discuss. Little did I know that the market decided, you want a Trader's Law episode? We're going to give you a Trader's Law episode. So, for some clarification, this is how my week has gone. Now, I talked about last week a trade that the volatility filter kept me out of, but officially this is my first week with the volatility filter on, hence why I said the first trade I took won. So, Monday, didn't take a trade that I would normally take because of the volatility filter. I sat out that one. Tuesday, I took a loss that I said kissed my stop loss. And when I say it kissed my stop loss, now I'm going to put up a little graphic, but I don't know which side it will be. So that side, wherever it turns up, that's how close it got. So I was like, yeah, okay, cool, that's cool. And then on Wednesday, I took another trade, which that way, missed my entry by 2 pips. That was it. And they both went to TP, did everything I thought they would, apart from without me in it. So that was about the Traders Laureus Law week that you could have possibly had. Options on the table were effectively 6R. What did I take? -1. There. However, as I'm starting to realise as I go along, it's actually not about those weeks that is the problem. It's how you react to those weeks. As my mentor always says in the group, you've got to, I think it's react and not respond. Basically, don't let it fuck your head, because that could be the difference between missing out on 5 or 6R or completely derailing your trading for the rest of the year. So that was my week for trading. I did feel a bit better about it though, because it was showing the edges edging, the ideas there, just some fine margins for this week, that's all. Shout out if anyone on the Discord's watching this. They were very sweet. I put my first YouTube up and a lot of them have followed me and subscribed and done the bits and bobs, and I appreciate it a lot. It's very nice. So aim for next week. Go again, detachment. Be nice to take a win on camera. Looking forward to that. Bet you are all too. Go girl, get yourself a win. And we go again.